This is Weather or Not.
And it is Wednesday, the Wednesday edition of Weather or Not, as we're cruising our way through this week. And boy, is there a lot of weather to talk about. Not so much here. Other parts of the country, though, in for a pretty epic stretch of weather as we head through the weekend.
And certainly dynamic systems taking place while our weather is quiet. Very strong high pressure for this time of year, providing that and going to give us a little taste of summer here as we head into the weekend.
And they're actually all kind of tied together.
Right?
Yeah, so we'll tie it together for you here. Let's jump into it and start with the first alert and what's happening here at home. And yeah, that is our preview of summer on the way as we work our way through the rest of this week and into the weekend. The big dome of high pressure going to be developing out there over the Atlantic. This is typically something we see in June, July, August.
And think about it too. Dome of high pressure blocks all the incoming systems.
Yep.
That's going to be why, once again, we're not going to be looking at anything other than heat. We'll look at wind to come out of the south, and each day a little bit warmer. Humidity starts to come back in, especially as we head toward the late work week as well. And yeah, temperatures 80s, going to be the warmest air so far this season.
Yeah, we're going to make a big jump. We'll go quickly into the upper 70s to near 80 as we head into Thursday and Friday. And man, talk about a beach weekend, the first legit beach weekend of the year, shaping up here for Saturday and Sunday. I have a feeling the beaches will be packed. 80 degrees coming in for both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, and certainly if you've been itching to get out on the sand, this is the weekend to do so. Actually looks like we'll have some sunshine out there as well, so going to be a nice weekend for that. Then you go inland, and yeah, you get a taste of even warmer weather. Darlington is this weekend.
Yeah.
It's going to feel more like the Cookout Southern 500 on Labor Day. For the Goodyear 400 this weekend, 90 degrees. I think isolated 90. Most of you going to be in the upper 80s. Few clouds come in Sunday, but
there ain't no hot like a Darlington hot though. I tell you what, the
Well,
lady in black, all of that heat.
Oh.
It's going to be a hot one out there for
Bleachers.
this weekend. Yeah, and the sunscreen. Don't forget, this time of the year you can get a pretty nasty burn pretty quickly, even though it may not be as hot as what we're used to in June and July. You can still get that hefty kind of a sunburn. But we were talking about how the same dome of high pressure that's bringing us that early taste of summer, also leading to a very stormy weather pattern across the middle part of the country. That dome offshore just kind of keeps anything from moving to the east. And that means it is just a train of storms for the next couple of days there from Arkansas, Missouri, into Kentucky, southern Ohio, southern Indiana, your stomping grounds.
Yeah.
A lot of rain.
Looking at some of the data coming into it, just looks weird.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you have a system that literally trains over another system, develops, and even as we go into the forecast, a lot of severe weather, but a lot of rain going to be coming in. Let's talk about obviously the thing that you're probably already have known, the severe weather threat all the way through tonight. Yeah, level 5 severe weather risk out there. We're talking big impacts, supercells. They're already saying EF3 tornado, long track or greater, plus flash flooding in the same supercell. Going to be weird.
Yeah, it is going to be one heck of a setup. You typically only get 1 or 2 of these level 5 high risk days per year. Some years you go the entire year without one. This is the second one this year, lining up from Memphis, Tennessee, Jonesboro, Arkansas, over towards Paducah, extreme southern Illinois, southwestern Missouri there, all in that level 5 risk, but the level 4 stretching from Little Rock to Louisville, and even isolated severe storms all the way back into Dallas, St. Louis, up in places like Indianapolis, Columbus, and even Detroit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is not only just the start. Multiple waves of severe weather. We'll go with this one today, obviously the highest, but then you'll have another threat that develops for tomorrow. And the big story for tomorrow, it's not really just the severe weather, but this is where now the Weather Prediction Center has issued a high risk for flash flooding, as significant flooding expected in the same areas under the high risk for severe weather today. Going to be really weird to see this all play out.
Yeah, it really is. So there's that severe risk tomorrow. Let's go into the day on Friday. Notice it just keeps going basically in those same spots with repeated rounds of thunderstorms on the way. Each one of those complexes of thunderstorms going to be dropping some tremendous amounts of rainfall. Whenever you see that purple color showing up on the map, it is bad news. You can see some of those rainfall totals there, over 8 inches in Louisville, over 6 inches in Little Rock, but within that sort of purple shaded area, talking about locally 12 inches plus. There could be some isolated 15-inch totals showing up there across that hard-hit area, and that's exactly where we have that high risk of flash flooding all the way through the weekend. Already seeing river forecasts, and some of the rivers in these areas likely going to be hitting record crests as we head into the weekend.
Yeah, think about it. You have local rivers, but then you also have the Ohio River, Mississippi River. We're going to see river flooding well into next week, especially with the rainfall totals coming in there. Let's talk about our rainfall, because you'll notice on the map, not much, but that high pressure will eventually break down as we go into Sunday night.
Yeah.
We'll finally get the cold front. It doesn't look like it's going to be a severe weather maker, but it does look like it could be some beneficial rain finally.
Yeah, looking at the latest data this morning, I got up and I was, okay, that's
Fingers crossed.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, maybe a good soaking kind of steady rain. Which is a lot more beneficial than those quick splash and dash heavy storms that we had earlier this week. Of course, we'll take any rain, but a good soaking over a couple of hours is certainly nice.
Yeah, and hopefully we can keep it there. I said this morning, let's knock on wood, let's do whatever
Yeah.
we need to, and we'll see if we can keep that in the forecast. That's a lot about the Southeast and Midwest. Let's continue and now take you coast to coast, and let's go up to the Northeast, because they're still picking up on showers and storms. Remember, we were talking about severe weather risk up in Indiana. They'll pick up, though, on mainly just the scattered showers as we go to this forecast. Occasionally, some storms will roll through there, as you'll notice West Virginia. I like to call this area over the next couple of days the leftovers.
Yeah.
Whatever that system's going to be doing as it goes into the overnight, they'll get that each and every single day as we go into these afternoons.
Yeah, and some pretty mild temperatures showing up here. Spring finally starting to spring there across the Northeast and New England. 70s across Pennsylvania, upper 60s to around 70, heading through most of New York. Maine holding on to winter, though, as they typically do, only into the 30s up there in Bangor, Maine. Let's take you down to the southwest, and as we head through the day tomorrow, you can see sort of the origins of all of those severe storms, especially across eastern Oklahoma into Arkansas, where again, that is going to produce severe weather and flooding there. But most of the rest of the southwest, including most of Texas, New Mexico, into Arizona, looking nice and quiet.
Yeah, temperatures in the 60s. You'll notice 69 there in Roswell, 71 in Lubbock, and then of course where all the rain is starting to originate. Look at all the warm air being pulled too from that system. 91 in Houston, 100 in Laredo, and 87 there in Shreveport. Let's continue and take you over to the West Coast, and as we do so, finally a little bit more quieter weather for them after last week, dealing with more showers and storms across the West Coast. High pressure just kind of settled in as those developing low pressure systems get going to the east. Temperature wise, going to be a little bit cooler, but doable, especially for this time of year.
Yeah, and this area is going to see those 40s and 50s, and still some 30s up in the mountain peaks, and kind of a showery setup there across the Rockies. So some high elevation snow showers, some low elevation rain showers, but overall pretty quiet. Let's talk about yesterday's temperature extremes of Rio Grande, Texas, 104.
Yeah, still known, and I would not want to be hiking on the Rio Grande Village Nature Trail at this time. That's what they're known for. Also, Clarksburg, Michigan, really small town. It's actually in Michigan, the smallest town per capita, and also per, I think it said 0.44 acres.
Wow. And then
Literally, it's like
one of the snowiest as well?
It's also one of the snowiest, and it's just southwest of Marquette, if you're curious where that is. So obviously, probably the sensor placed in so no-name town.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what it is. All right, let's go ahead and take it to our See It, Zap It, Send It, and we love to show it when you do, and this feels like a Jamie Arnold painting. Debbie Matter, our good friend Debbie, sending this photo. I love seeing the colors, but I'm still suffering from all the pollen.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but
It
I'm
is.
ready for everything to just kind of
Brook green?
out. It looks like brook
Looks
green.
like brook green. Yeah. Azaleas in full bloom. Absolutely beautiful. Yes, Jenna confirming that is brook green there from.
Gets me ready for the Masters next week, too.
Oh, I know. Yeah. God, already.
Yeah, next week. Time's flying. CC Math will be here before we know it.
All right. Let's check out the next picture here. Wisteria. Love it or hate it? Or do you know what it is?
I hate it.
You hate it?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's just overhyped.
Anyway, the beautiful purple blooms of the wisteria vine.
You love it?
I love it. I love to look at
I like
it.
the color.
Yeah, but it's also extraordinarily invasive. If you ever
Yes, it
plant a wisteria, it won't die,
And it will go everywhere.
and it will go absolutely everywhere. You go right through
like
the country,
ivy.
yeah, run through the country around here, and you'll see wisteria up in the trees and the pine trees, and it'll just take over huge swaths of land. But boy, is it beautiful this time of the year.
Yes, it
Rest of the year, it's garbage.
Yeah, I was going to say. Literally, it gets its like 2 week
Smells
window.
good too.
Oh, okay.
Smells amazing.
It's better than some of those trees
Yeah.
this time of year. Let's go ahead and remind you where you can send your photos to it. All you have to do is scan this QR code. You see something, you see it, snap it, send it. once again, it doesn't always have to be weather. It could be plants, it could be trees, it could be the sunrise, sunset, whatever it is. We would love to showcase it. Maybe it's your favorite happy hour spot as we get closer to that warmer weekend.
All right.
We're outside this weekend too.
Yeah, definitely a good outside kind of a weekend. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we're going to be obviously checking in on that severe weather and significant flooding. We'll probably have some amazing new videos coming in overnight tonight. We'll be sure to share those with you.
Yeah, that and a preview of weekend events, Darlington forecast, all that, much more coming up on tomorrow's episode of Weather or Not.